once you've closed the deal, the real work begins. And for a moving company, this means planning and managing the move itself. In this video, I'll show you how you can automate this entire handoff process in HubSpot, making sure that your sales and operations teams work perfectly in sync. My name is Jasper. I'm a certified HubSpot consultant, and let's dive right in. Oh, and by the way, this is video 2 in a series that I'm doing. So if you have missed the first video, make sure to check that one out as well. I'll link it right up here. And this is something that you can also do for other service businesses. But for this video specifically, we're going to talk about moving businesses. So the first thing we want to do is we want to define the operational structure that we're going to use. So I'll start where we left off last time, and this was the workflow that we had. So we build out this entire workflow, that deal gets created, and now we want to work from when this deal gets to a closed one, the next steps after that. So let's go back here. We're going to create first we want to create the object that we're going to use. So let's go to settings here. I'm going to go to our objects. And let's see, already activated the services object, and that is the one that we want to use right here. We are going to keep this name. We can actually we can change the name of this object, which is interesting as well. But for now, we want to keep that name. Let's see how I've set all of this up. We'll just have a look at our services object here. How about that? So we go to CRM services, and here we can see right now I have an onboarding as an example. Now when we go to settings, we can update this pipeline to reflect our process. So in this case, we want this to reflect the process of a moving business, of course. So the first stage is going to be booked. The next stage that we want to work with is going to be remove, in progress. Then we want to go to completed, review. Then we'll go to closed, reviewed / paid. Of course, this can be a little bit different for your process. And here we're also going to add a optional stage. We're going to say canceled or postponed. These are all open stages. These are closed stages. So now we have our pipeline set up here. We're going to save that. Okay, so next we want to add some properties to our service record here. So we're going to go to setup, going to go to properties. And the first property that I want to add here is, of course, the move date. It's going to be a very important one. I'm going to use a date here, and then I'm also going to show the relative time. So when we're looking at this, we can specifically see that this is 15 days from now, for example. So we're going to create that property. Then we want the address. So I'm going to keep it simple here. Usually you would want street, city, postal code, state, not all of these as separate properties. But in this case, we want to keep it simple, and I'm just going to say origin address. And I'm going to make this a multi-line text in this case. Then I'm going to clone that, and we're going to say destination. Another thing that we want to know here, and we're going to assume that we have these people in HubSpot, is we want to know the crew leads. And for this, we can use the user property. So we're going to say HubSpot user. And then we can choose whether you can only select one user. Since it's a lead, we just want one user here. Maybe we also want to add the estimated hours. This is going to be a number. So now we have some properties in place. If you also want to make sure that these properties show up in the right place, we can work on that as well. So if we go to services here, record customization, then we have our default view about this service. And here you can change all the properties that show up, or we could also make it a little bit easier, do a custom card for the moves here. So we'll do move information. We'll have the move dates. Save this. I'm going to save this. And now when we look at one of our service records here, let's go to services. We'll open this one. We could already see that all of the different stages are there. But now you can also see here that we have all of that move information available as well. So now that we have everything set up right here to handle the different moves, we want to make sure that we, again, automate this, because everything that we automate are things that basically cannot go wrong and people cannot really forget about them. So now we're gonna create that move. So we're gonna do a workflow from scratch, and we're gonna start with criteria right now. We're gonna start with a deal, and here we're gonna say a deal property stage is any of, and we were working with the sales pipeline. So when the deals in the sales pipeline get to closed won, that's when I want to kick off this workflow. Re-enrollment typically is not really necessary here, so we're not going to turn that on. And here we are. So now we're going to say create a move after a deal is closed won. There we go. So this will kick it off at the right time. Now we can start building. So the first thing we want to do is whenever a deal gets closed won, we want to add that service record. So we're going to click on CRM here. We're going to go to create records and we're going to look for service. The name of this one is going to be, we're actually going to use the same as the deal name because that was already pretty descriptive. So we're going to do the deal name. The pipeline is going to be the service pipeline, and we're going to do this in the booked stage. We could already add some information here, and you can do like some more things here. For example, whenever a deal gets to closed won, you want to make sure that the sales rep fills out the exact date when the move will happen, the origin address, the destination address, and when they fill that out, we again can copy this to our move itself, which will make sure that all of that information is correct. It would make this video a little bit too long, so we're gonna skip that part, but we do want to add some properties as well. So we're going to set some of the properties here, and let's first start with the expected move date, and we're going to copy that to our move date. Then the next one is going to be, it was moving from, and that's something that we're going to copy from the origin address. And then you also have moving to, and that's going to be our destination. So we're going to keep it simple here. We do want to make sure that we associate this to the right records. So it's already going to be associated with the enrolled deal, but we do also want to associate this to the contact as well. So we're going to say associate all associated contacts, which means that all of the contacts that were associated with that deal, which is one of them will definitely be the one that submitted the form, will also be linked to the service as well. So here we're going to say we also want to add that timeline activity because that will give us some additional information, and then we want to save this. So now that automatically gets created as soon as the deal gets to closed won. Now, another thing that we want to do here, you can already see that this is not assigned to anyone. So we do want to set the owner here as well, and we're going to assign this service to, let's say you have a specific person managing all of this. This is probably going to be me, since I'm the only person here in the demo account. So we're going to add this to myself, and then we're going to save this. So now it also automatically gets assigned. Now that we have this service record, we also can start automating even more. So let's just close this one for now. So this will automatically create that service record. But what we can do now as well is we can set up that new service record. So let's say you want to call this admin, set up new, and we want to run this workflow whenever a new service record gets created. So we're just going to do service properties, and I'm just going to say record ID is no. It's like one of those tricks that you can use to make sure that any new service that gets created gets enrolled in this workflow. So we're going to save this, and now we can basically start creating some tasks that need to happen whenever the new service record gets created. Another thing that you could do here is instead of records ID is known, because like when we create a new service, we would typically always start in the first stage. If you want to make sure of that, another option here would be to add that stage instead. So we could do pipeline stage is any of booked, and thus make sure that they really are in that first stage. So here we can say whenever they're in the pipeline stage booked, they get enrolled in this workflow, and we want to create an automated task. Well, we want to automatically create a task. In this case, let's see what task I want to create first. Let's say we do want to check the move details with our contacts. So we'll do confirm move details with, and then we're going to add the available record. So this shows that we can access more information than just the service itself. And we're going to use contacts associated to the enrolled service. We'll do all associated contacts. And if we want to filter down to just one contact, we can say that we want to do the first associated one, or maybe the most recently associated. Let's just say in this case, we'll do the most recently updated. So we'll add that in. So now we can say confirm move details with, and now we also have our contact available here. And we're just gonna add the first name. That is gonna be a call task. We'll say due in 3 days. It's gonna be assigned to the owner of the service. And this is a medium priority. So now that task automatically gets created as soon as the service record gets created, which is as soon as the deal is closed won. So all of this is already happening automatically. Let's add an additional task here, and we'll do a task to assign the move coordinator. So we'll do create task, or it was a team lead, I think I called it. So assign move team lead. We'll also set that on 3 days. We'll do the owner again. This is also going to be medium priority. I'm going to save that as well. And then next, we're gonna delay this, and we're gonna delay this until an event occurs, and the event that occurs will be the property name, pipeline stages, any of pre-move. So now what this does is whenever we get to this point, the workflow will basically stop until we move this object to the next stage, which will be the pre-move. Or we can also say that doesn't complete the event within a certain period of time, by default 5 days, then we also want to move forward with this workflow. Obviously, like 5 days is going to be a little bit short, so we're going to say customize the period, and let's just put this on 365 days, assuming that by then most of them would have moved forward. We're going to save this, and as you saw, I also added a branch for if the event criteria is not met. Just in case, we can branch to a different category instead. Now, a couple of other cool things that we could do in this workflow here is that as soon as this new move gets created, if your team uses Slack, we could automatically send a Slack message to a shared channel for operations that they can see that a new move has been created. We can also add an automated email to our customer as soon as we scheduled the specific move date. We can also go a little bit further and send an automated email as soon as we know the expected delivery date. Like all of these things can be scheduled and planned within this workflow right here. We can even send these updates through WhatsApp if that's the preferred channel that we want to use instead. Once we have all of these operations in HubSpot, obviously you also want sort of like a control center, and this is where we could create a custom dashboard for these moves as well. If that's a video you would like to see, let me know in the comments below, and I might create that video next. I specialize in helping businesses create smoother processes and better automations for their business. So if you need help with that, feel free to reach out to me. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel, because in the next video, I'm going to show you the process after the move has been completed. This means that we're going to look into how we're going to automatically ask for reviews, because we all know how important those are, as well as a post-move nurturing sequence. This is also going to be a really interesting one. If you want to see that, click right here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.